All right, and we're back. So, moving on to Sage. Now, I thought about it, and I think that Sage is in a similar boat to Chaos. Now, the interesting thing about Sage, despite the fact that Sage might be so much earlier in his journey, like Chaos is probably like 20 years into his journey, whereas Sage, I don't know, might be like anywhere from like something maybe like 7 or 8 or something like that. Sage, early on, he already had like a very specific purpose. Like, you know, so Sage, I would say, is one of those characters. He was a good person, but he wasn't like a hero in the sense of, oh, you know, I'll put out fires, I'll save people from, you know, falling off of buildings, I'll stop purse snatchers and bank robbers, and then also terrorists, I'll fight villains. No, his was much more focused. He was basically like a dissident for the fascist government on Lyatron. You know, so he stood up against like Dracul's dictatorship and basically pushed back against like their policies, especially as it pertained to like ostracizing and subjugating the naturalists on Lyatron. These are the Sentinels of Light that were not genetically engineered. So in our society, the government propaganda is that they're inferior because, you know, they're not designed by Dracul's hand, or, you know, they haven't been properly grown. So that was what Sage was doing early on. So he already had that kind of focused purpose. Now later on, you know, post Spectre's will, Sage is more like a soldier, but he still has like a larger purpose, I would say, to build up the Circle of Light. I could imagine maybe if the Circle of Light itself was destroyed, it could make Sage. I think Sage is closer to being the kind of character that could. He wouldn't necessarily say fuck it and just like walk away, but I could see him saying fuck it and becoming a more Punisher type character or something like that. Like, he'll go from, like, a good example was in Angel, you know, the Buffy spinoff. Angel had this enemy, Wolfram and Hart, that he was facing. It was basically like a law firm that represented evil on Earth, and he had been fighting them for a while and everything. So they didn't fuck with each other. They were big enemies, yada, yada, yada. So eventually he had a defeat from them that, for him, it just got him to the point where he just said, fuck it. Like, enough's enough. I can't take this anymore. And he just went, he basically just went, oh, I think I forgot my mask. No! Sorry. But he just went apeshit. And basically, like, he stopped giving a fuck, but it wasn't like he retired or just, you know, just went traveling and became a nomad. His not giving a fuck was basically, hey man, I'm dedicating all my time and attention to destroying this enemy. He cut himself away from his friends, all extracurriculars, all of that different shit. He had one purpose, which was to destroy that enemy. I think Sage's fuck it will look similar to that. Like, we're at war with the Vox Brotherhood right now. If the Vox manages to somehow take out the cavern and kill everybody, I could see Sage saying, that's it, they all gotta die, and just committing like completely to bringing them all down. They'll probably bring out a bit of that, more of that Spectre's will, and, you know, that will come down on their fucking heads. But yeah, that's basically how I see that for one Sage.